Dare I say it? We are back, my friends. Oh boy, hold on to your hankies. This is going to be a fun day. We've got a lot planned for you, and can't wait to share with you what Lewis and I have been chatting about in the back end here. And there's a lot to share, and so good to be back. Thank you guys for being here. Robert Imbrielli, in case you don't know who I am. And the guy who's sitting to my left over here is none other than Mr. Lewis Herms. I know you are here to see him, not me. So here he is.
Whatever. Boy, I'm infamous, not famous.
Somebody did write that to me. It's like, you're infamous now. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing.
Right, right.
You're looking chipper today. The Unity tour came and went, and like a flash, it felt like it was going to be a monumental undertaking, and you turn around, it's gone. And we did a lot of work. We did a lot of streaming. We made a lot of connections, but I want to hear about it from your perspective because you were at all the stops, and I was, well, most of them. I think you missed two during that time. But yeah, tell us what it was like to be on the road.
Wow. That's it.
That's
Nice
it.
to be back. Show's over. Well, I'll tell you what an experience. So our goal, as you know, was to hit 50 stops in 33 days, and we fell short. But it wasn't on accident; it was intentional. So we'll get that into a minute. But it was an incredible undertaking, and I am so happy. I'm so happy that I did it. I'm blessed that you and the rest of the crew, Bruce and Andrew and everybody that chipped in from moderators to volunteers and on the road, and Lisa in the background. It was just, and Carol even drove with us for a while. It was just incredible to have that group. But here's what's interesting. So to be fully transparent, some stops we went to, we were disappointed a little bit because of the showing. There weren't very many people at some stops. And some stops were like, wow, where'd all these people come from? It was very odd, right? What we found out, though, quickly, as it's intended, is God puts in front of you who needs to be in front of you, right? So
Right.
even if it's one person or 300, that's who needs to be there at that time. And the proof was in the pudding. In fact, I coined a phrase called salty shoulders while we were doing the tour, because so many people were happy that a group of people are willing to come see them and willing to fight for them. And they would cry on our shoulders, right? So it was just amazing. And
Well, Lewis, when you say that, what was the feeling of those who were crying on the shoulder? Were they just like grateful that you were there? Were they feeling maybe the tears were a sense of relief that somebody's finally stepping up and doing something?
I would say you nailed it on both accounts. I believe it was both. I think they were very appreciative, which is a blessing to us, that we were willing to be there, teach some principles, put ourselves out there, and work so hard for we the people. Because what they see through government is exactly the opposite,
Right.
right? We the people look at government now, and it's very clear that the last people they consider are the constituents, and that's only who they should consider. So I think people are like, wow, there's really people fighting for us. But I believe the message came through really strong, that there is so much evidence out there that we the people, we have all the power. And when we kept transmitting that message over and over and over, people were very appreciative, because what it also gave them a hope. It gives you hope that when people show up and are there for you. And it was a wonderful experience, all the way around. There's not one stop that I would change a thing on. And it was crazy, though, as you know, because you were involved in every single one.
Yeah.
There was, we had, I don't know, 8 to 10 breakdowns, which is just unheard of. I mean, Bruce and I were changing U joints and belts and rewiring things, and it was just madness. So we had to deal with that, and then I really pushed the crew time wise. So every stop like that really put a lot of stress on us,
Right.
because we had to still get to our stop, and then we had major rainstorms, and then we had literally warning messages on our phone: stop, pull over, don't drive, everybody stop. And when we ended up at the place, one person was there that decided not to listen to the warning message, and it never rained on that event, and that was outside. So there was a lot of interesting. And while we were on the road, we found out that we were the number one target on the Southern Poverty Law Center. And if that means anything to anybody, if you don't understand who they're about, they have something called a hate map. And they have this is the word literally, $500 million in the bank to target groups like ours. So the fact that we're number one on there, it's like, why is that? That doesn't even add up. Are we really making that much of an impact? Maybe we are. I guess Rumble had a conference. Supposedly they were going to have a conference on October 7th that discusses how there's shadow banning and some other things going on, and platforms are attacked. And several people were invited, and we were never invited there, which is very interesting to
Yeah.
me. And even people that were invited are like, how, I don't understand, Lewis. How would Scuba Gov not be invited to this? So there's a lot of very weird things. And the message I kept getting from everybody, which is hopeful if this is true, that Robert, you and I are so far ahead of the curve on what we're doing. And this is not an ego play, guys. What this is about is just in us assessing the situations. Great example. The first day that Tim Waltz was selected as the VP nomination, right here on the show, first day.
Yep. You could tell with these people, some of them, it's easy to spot it a mile away. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe that. I know there's a lot of people who are, especially around this area, supporting Harris and Walls. And it's like, really? You would support more of this? You're already complaining there's too many illegals in the area. You're already complaining crime is through the roof. Where do you think this came from? This came from that group. It's not going to change. And when they brought Walls up right away, we were like, oh, no, not this guy. And Donald Trump had the greatest response. He said, thank you. you know?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
it was
exactly.
easy.
So what it comes down to is what we have determined, which is a positive, but it also means you and I need to work harder, is we have determined that we're one of the only organizations out there giving tools and working with We the People to show them that they hold all the power. And it's time for us to take the ball and run with it. And I'm guessing, and it appears that that's the message that the cabal is most afraid of, which is fantastic, because now we know how to even push harder in that direction, right? And of course, we have to keep our frequency very, very high. We can't let these things be fearful. And then when you act like we have done in regards to in the east, when it regards to the hurricane, that puts fear in the eyes of the cabal also, because we're proving that we the people hold all the power. So to summarize the tour, yes, it was fantastic. You did a phenomenal job. I don't know how you did every single show. That was amazing. And then, but there was a time where I got called to be part of the disclosure, the press conference with Sean Taylor. So in the middle of a tour, I had to fly out, and people don't even understand how hard that is.
Yeah.
To book the flights, get the hotel, be in meetings until 12:30 in the morning, and then have to be up early and doing everything, and then fly right out again. It's rough, but it needed to be done. And that's part one. There's a lot coming in regards to that press conference, and the names and the connections that people see are going to blow people away. So we did have to leave there. And then we continued to go on, and then the hurricane hit. And to be honest with you, we were so busy. None of us were on our phones looking at the news or whatever. It was stop after stop after stop after breakdown. And it was hard to do that. And I think it was the second day after the hurricane, we started personally getting text message and phone calls of what was really going on. And then we I took the time to dig into it a little bit, and then while we were in Albany, New York, made a decision that it's time to readjust our efforts and let's go help with hurricane relief.
You're not a New
And then
Yorker.
that
You called it Albany. That's Albany.
oh, Albany.
Albany, New
I
York. Yeah.
actually I normally do call it Albany, which is interesting. So regardless of everything, we reallocated our efforts. And I want to say before we continue, is I'm so proud of the SBG family, the Renegade family, and Unpopular Viewpoint family because they stepped up to a level that is unbelievable when it comes into donations and personal efforts. The pictures are out there. We were on the ground in Tampa, tearing out drywall, trying to save things, and now it's funny because people have said, "Oh, Lewis, how's your day off or days off?" And I go, I'm not quite sure what that is because all we've been doing is I've been focusing on trying to manage things that are going on in North Carolina, and move things around. And we ended up, well, we'll get into that later. But it's so there's a lot going on here. But to short answer the question is, I wouldn't trade the experience for anything, and I would probably never do it again.
Gotcha.
Did you hear the word probably?
Gotcha. Yep. So Unity Tour 2.0 will start in January.
No.
January
no,
6th, Washington, D.C., stop number 1.
No. We are considering more of a convention model
Right.
in the future. But right now, you and I have a lot of work to do here. I'm in Los Angeles right now. People, because of all the work I've been doing in North Carolina over the last week, people keep saying, "Where are you in North Carolina?" I go, "I never have been in North Carolina. I've been doing all of it off site." But we're doing fantastic work there. That's for sure.
There's a story today about an armed militia hunting FEMA in North Carolina, and it caused FEMA to pull back. They pull their troops out. To tell you what's going on over there is just insanity. The battle behind the scenes that we're not seeing, that media does not report. We're starting to see little bits and pieces of it come through. And you were talking about the number of people who perished in that. They're saying around 200 now, but we know it's much more than that.
So I'm going to give people this is firsthand information from people, right? Because I'm in contact on average per day, 8 to 12 people from the disaster zone that we're coordinating with.
Right.
And I should say they're doing fantastic work. I'm literally just coordinating, moving funds around, helping them get what they need. Like we got cadaver dogs to somebody. I got this, and this is so I can't say me. I'm kind of just pulling the strings in the background, doing everything we can to help because that's where we're most efficient at. But we need to clarify some things. So we don't need hopium out there. We don't need fear porn. So I'm just going to tell you facts. Body bags for them. That's one location, one person. And then I got confirmation from somebody else in another area that they were thinking the count was around already 1,200 in this one area of Asheville and up in this mountainous area where there's a few hundred more. And then I got a few hundred here. So by the separate, and what I did is these are separate people. I said, what location are you talking about? What exactly is going on here? What are you seeing? So I would estimate at least verifiable right now is over 2,000. So the news media is blatantly lying because if I could do that in a few phone calls, they certainly can do that.
They're being told not to is what it is. It's not that they can't do it, it's that they're being told not to.
Exactly, which makes them not a journalist.
Right.
So it appears that there at one time were up to 30,000 people missing. Now, I think that number's gone down, and I think it'll keep coming down significantly because what happens in these tragedies, people are just fighting just to live. So they find a location, they get their family there, and they don't contact any officials for a while.
Right.
So
and there's a lot of Hispanic community too that is afraid to contact them because they will get deported So they're hiding from them literally. So we don't know what the number is. I have a video from this girl in North Carolina, and she's saying that her organization delivered 10,000 body bags to local officials, and they got a call saying they're going to need more. So the number can be astronomically higher than the 200, clearly.
Well,
And
I can tell you after I found out they needed body bags,
mhm,
I went on a mad search for them, and everybody seemed to be sold out.
wow,
So that should tell you, because it has to be a leak-proof body bag, is
right,
what it's called. That's the only one that they'll, from what I'm told. But again, if we weren't doing the work, I wouldn't have that information, right? So the point is, it's a lot more than people are. It's a lot more than's being out there. So these are factual accounts. Another factual account is that they are pushing through FEMA lines, right?
yeah,
Um, the only praise I heard about FEMA so far from people on the ground was when I was working to get cadaver dogs, which we finally have located, and they're going to be on the ground any day. In fact, I sent you a picture of one. I don't know if you got it
I
in
did.
the final
Where did it
in the
go?
final pics. By the way, that dog that was doing the work in Tennessee is one of the dogs that is heading over to an area that I've sent him in. He looks exactly like my dog Reggie, if anybody wants to
Oh,
know.
really? Wow.
So, but one thing that we confirmed in regards to that is what FEMA is requiring is anybody going on site with certain search and rescue dogs, they have to be certified. Now, if they're non-certified, they have to sneak around and do work. But the one positive note that somebody said is that FEMA was processing them extraordinarily fast within an hour, it seemed like, where before it could take days in the past. So I believe, though, again, this is because we the people is pressuring FEMA to do the right thing. So that is a HRD dog, and what that means is human remain detection dog. And it's unfortunately that's where we are, but we have. In fact, I'm supposed to be on the phone with somebody right now, but I told him I was on live with you in part of the coordination there. But this is the type that work we're doing in the background because this is what freedom in action is all about. We have to show, and it, I have to say, and I don't think this is an exaggeration. I believe, based on the phone calls I made, that 80 to 90% of the positive efforts are coming from independents
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and not
Yeah, no
not
question.
FEMA.
Yeah.
FEMA seems like they're I know they are now. They're obstructionists. So but these are I'm giving you literal factual accounts, guys, and these are people. A lot of them they don't know who I am. They're not tinfoil hat wearing people like myself and Robert. Sometimes these are just people that are trying to help, right? So I'm talking to normal everyday people that don't have a skewed opinion, and they're saying FEMA is not doing good work and they are being obstructionists. So um, we know what's going on. We know how that goes, but we, the people, are pushing through. We have accounts from our friends in Florida that they pushed right through barriers and they went out and saved people on an island. And they said, "Screw you." I have an account that it appears there's a confirmation, and this has not hit the news. So I'm wondering what's going on there. That there was a FEMA source up there. So this is the type of things that we're dealing with. But folks, what we need to know, and I hope this resonates across the world, in every situation, the answer is within your own hands. It's we the people can get it done. And you don't need a big government trying to insert themselves. Let's even say they don't have some satanic agenda. You know what they do have? They have a fuck all lot of red tape.
Yep.
So they're
Yep.
never going to be efficient, and they overspend on everything. Let's even assume that they're not laundering money, which we know they are. Let's look what people know. They have red tape, bureaucracy. They overspend for everything, and they can't make a quick decision. So you need a motorcycle to turn on a dime and flip the other way. You don't need an aircraft carrier in a situation like this, right? And they do not know how to adapt. And that is if they're benevolent, which they're not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, anytime you get involved with government, it's all red tape and regulations, and they want you to be permitted. We saw it happen out here in California too. It's kind of crazy how these guys are they literally get in the way. They stop everything from happening. That they're supposed to be there to facilitate. According to the Constitution, their role is to help local officials, not block them. So
Yep.
they've got it wrong. They've got to reread their manual there.
Yeah, well, there is no manual, there is no oath. They don't care. These are unelected bureaucrats that are on the teat of a government paycheck, and they're always being threatened with losing that paycheck if they don't comply. That's the way they take care of business. No, I just noticed my mic is really far away. I bet you I sound a lot better right now.
Yeah, you do sound a lot better, a little closer. Yeah, the other thing is they do everything for the salary. They've got this strange loyalty, even though they may be doing the wrong thing. They're like, well, it's not me doing it. I'm being told what to do, and they justify it that way, doing what they're doing. Well, my boss told me to do it. Yeah, but where's your moral compass? Did the needle fall off? What happened? What did you lose that? Is the paycheck really that good? Where you'll throw your morals out the window? And then they're worried about obviously their pension, right? They work 20 years and they've got a full pension and health care and who knows what else they get. And they don't want to lose that. It's just too big. And I can't put my family into hardship. Those people are hurting. It's okay, but my family's going to be okay. And I'm going to keep playing the game this way. But they're not excused from it. I wouldn't excuse them from it. I think they're part of the
No.
problem.
You hit to the heart of the matter, and one of the biggest concerning things that I have is that people put their pensions and their paycheck before humanity,
Right.
and they've been propagandized in MK Ultra so much to believe that that is okay. They actually believe that that's okay, and this is through government action, political action, it's CIA, DARPA operations, Hollywood. I mean, you name it. The propaganda is so heavy that you must absolutely take care of your personal finances before everything else. That's paramount. Well, I believe that is the height of the satanic agenda. Is they always it's money. When you could get people, it says right in the Bible, right, for the love of money.
Hmm.
It doesn't say money, but the love of money. And I believe, and I'm talking to you Christians out there too, you high and mighty Christians, right? You're the same people that are putting your paycheck and your pension before the security of your neighbor or somebody else. You're the same people that are doing it. So I don't think many people are absolved from that. And I would say probably 80% of the people still have that mindset. And that's what we need to break through. And that's why we haven't pushed through this awakening yet, is because I believe it absolutely has to hit their bank accounts before they say, okay, what's going on here?
I think everyone is also at this point 21 days out from November 5th. I think everyone's just get a breakthrough. You and I know that that's not going to be the relief point. That's probably going to be the trigger point of actually more difficult times ahead. And everyone's been warning, get ready, get prepared. There may not be an opportunity to run to the store, although they may have goods for you. You're not going to want to go because of the riots and things you have to go through to get there. So, just look at what happened in Florida. Our friend Gina, she's been posting, they've been without power for 4 days. And she said, I thought we were prepared. And she said, no way. And she had generators and stuff. And she said, we can't even get gasoline for the generator. Right?
No.
So,
Yeah, prepared is having at least 10 gallons extra, always having full fuel tanks in your vehicles that you can siphon from, having 50 gallons of water, having 6 months of food. I mean, the list goes on and on and
yeah.
on and on. And you probably may not be prepared. The question really though is, are you prepared emotionally and spiritually? And I would say most people are not
No, not at all.
prepared for it.
Well,
And
we've grown up in a cushy, comfortable, we've never had any adversity truly in our we didn't experience that. So we really hadn't have any crises other than 9/11 might have been the biggest one. Didn't really impact much. Okay, the economy shut down. They shut down the airspace for 90 days. Okay, so you couldn't fly anywhere. Hardship? Nah, probably not. Not what we're facing now, anyway.
No, it's a whole nother level.
Right.
Um, but I people are asking, so I'll just say real quick, and we'll get right back to it. Yeah, if you want to donate to hurricane relief, just go to unitytour.us, unitytour.us, and they're very happy how fast we're allocating funds. Also, um, we'll get into that. We've delivered so many trucks filled with goods and so on and so forth. So I appreciate it. Unitytour.us. But to go back to what you're saying, Robert, and you absolutely nailed it, guys. No, November 5th is it's nothing else than just another catalyst for action,
Right.
because we have to be very intelligent about this, and I don't think this is a time to put on our Pollyanna hat. Let's assume President Trump clear cut wins on November 5th, which we know they're going to try to steal it, but let's assume that happens. Okay, if you think it's all lollipops and roses after that, you really have been eating too much popcorn, because the reality is probably the first thing you're going to see is Antifa BLM activated, and you'll see many cities burning. Would be a guess. I'm not hoping for it. I'm just being pragmatic about this. You may see an intentional collapse of the markets, right? By the bad companies that haven't been taken over yet. I think many corporations have been taken over. So you can see a lot of that. You may see some retaliation from within side of other countries. I don't know. So it's not going to be all roses and lollipops when Trump is elected November 5th. But then you take it that time from November 5th to January 20th, and as you would tell me, Robert, really January 6th, which is
The
I
certification
believe
date. Yeah.
the date of the certification, which the crazy Democrats, Raskin is already saying they're not going to certify the election
Yep.
if he wins it. Guys, we are in for a shitstorm after November 5th. And that's the scenario if Trump wins. Happening this time.
Yeah.
Um, and the key is we have to get out in front of it. So, great example, guys. The Freedom in Action app will have details on how you can report during the election. You can go get the Freedom in Action app right now. So all you do is you need to, for now, because it's still in test mode, go to screwbiggov at protonmail.com, screwbiggov at protonmail.com, and you must have a Gmail address to test. So you have to just send us your Gmail address, and we'll put you on the list, and you'll be able to get it right away by tomorrow. So, what interesting times we're in, though, and we have more to go over through the hurricane and so on and so forth. But I apologize. I'm getting some very urgent message about the dogs that are supposed to be delivered. But we also have, we'll talk about little guys. You guys should hang on in here because Robert and I are going to talk about some format changes that are pretty exciting coming here.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of learning during the Unity tour. From my perspective, I got, instead of being in the role of being, I started off like with the, hey, welcome to the Unity tour. This is stop number, whatever. I did that, and then I turned it over to the team. So that allowed me to kind of sit back and watch your reactions and watch the chat rooms and participate. And you get to see the show from a different perspective. I mean, I would love to be like you guys and see it like a viewer sees it. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll replay the show just to see what it looks like. But there was a lot of learning in that. And I started to watch other people's channels and start to see, okay, where are we making the impact? Because Lewis and I, we had some goals when we first started this, what we wanted to do. And number one thing was we want to make a difference, right? There's no point in doing it if we're not making a difference. If you guys are getting value out of this and it's helping you and it's putting you on the right track and calming you down through all the chaos, we're having an impact. That's fantastic. If we're not, then we need to make some changes. So we're looking at all of that. We're having great discussions. It's ironic that Lewis and I really haven't spoken since before the Unity tour. We talked during the Unity tour, but honestly, so many times the cell phone connection was so bad, I had to interpolate what he was saying. I couldn't actually hear him. It was like a little bit like the teacher in Charlie Brown sometimes. It's really bad. He's like, we're going through a storm. It's really bad. Yeah, your cell connection is horrible. I can't understand what you're talking about. So we finally had a chance to connect, and this never ceases to surprise me. We're exactly on the same page again. Even though we haven't spoken for a month, we're still on the same page of what we want to do and how we want to change things up. So it's amazing that we kind of see things, the world, the same way. And we have a shared sense of humor too, which is good. We want to bring more of that in. We've heard your feedback and the things that you like, and we're going to make sure that we are, lightening the mood a little bit, because it's getting somewhat intense. We're inside this last phase here, this 20 days before November 5th. It's going to get intense. Everyone is on pins and needles. We know. We talked about what we're going to do during election night, and what kind of show we're going to put on and that kind of thing. So we're already planning that. But for the show, Lewis, where should we start? We have some great ideas.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what we're definitely going to keep, right?
Right.
We're gonna keep a beautiful song at the beginning of every program, and we're gonna keep the WTF moments. People seem to just love on some phenomenal guests, some guests you've never heard of before. We've been making a lot of just amazing connections lately, so that's going to be really, really cool. Robert and I are dedicated to bringing the humor and the vibe up, having motivational minutes, I believe Robert calls it, some great personal development stories and topics. So we're going to take it up to a next level for y'all, because you deserve it. And the feedback that I have gotten from that's the beautiful thing about traveling, Robert, is it's amazing. They won't tell us things until they see us in person sometimes. Right? Yep. And most people just absolutely love our show. They wait for it, but we're going to bring it up to another level. Should be exciting, and then we're going to have a little twist on how we handle the news, which will be really fun, I think.
I think so. I think it is, and you're right. I mean, when I was at the event in San Diego, it was a week later. People were still commenting on what I did there in San Diego. But you're right. The people in the audience, I had some great conversations with people I didn't know, never see them in chat room, but they watched the show. And they were very impressed by what we do and how we handle it. And, we work really hard to keep the production level pretty high. And it's not an easy thing to do.
You do. No, I don't.
It's not an easy thing to do. Some months, honestly, it costs me more to put on the show than we make from our ads, but it's just the way it is for right now. We just want to make sure that, from the viewer perspective, that we're delivering something that, number one, you guys are going to like, you're going to come back and watch it again, and you're going to tell your friends. And if we achieve those things, then we're in good company and we're doing the right thing. So making some changes, some upgrades, breathing some new life into the show, having the month that we're going to call it a break, break from the news, but not really a break, because I think all of us worked a lot harder than we normally do. 50 live streams in 33 days. That was intense. Yeah. But it gave us an opportunity really to see the show in a new light. And sometimes the only way to do that is to step back. Guys, you want to know I'll give you a motivational moment here. One of the keys to being very successful in life is taking a lot of vacations.
Oh, well, bye.
Goodbye. Getting away from your daily routine, right? Taking a break from it. So you see wealthy people, they're on vacation again. There's a key for you. There's a clue. Success always leaves clues, right? Why are they on vacation all the time? Clear the head, let the new ideas come, step back from it all, and all of a sudden you come back with a flood of new ideas. Phoebe and I would laugh at it every time we'd go to Vegas or something for the weekend, and we'd drive in the car, sitting there 4.5 hours, and there'd be a list of ideas that we'd come up with that would never come while we're working. It only came when we got away from it. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the best writing I've ever done is come off of a break. And a lot of times I end up writing on the break because you get that inspiration
Hmm.
and that stream of consciousness, and you just have to start writing it down. So I agree with you. I don't know. I'm trying to see if there's time I could take off a little bit before November 5th. So it's a conversation my wife and I have to have, because this time that people think I've had off has just not been
No.
time off. It's been extraordinarily rigorous, averaging about 3.5 hours sleep a day. And now I just lay in bed. The last 3 days, I just lay in bed and it's just not happening. Like, wow. Um, but I have been testing a new supplement that we're going to reintroduce to you guys. And I can tell you, it just blows me away. I can say personally, this helped me get through the last 6 weeks on a level that I could not have achieved. So, well, but we're not going to discuss that now.
Yeah.
But it is good news coming up with that too.
Edward is saying Robert calls 50 live streams a break, Lewis.
I know. I know. I had people text me today, a few of them actually. They're saying, "Hey, I know you've been taking a break, but da da da." I'm like, "I have? Please let me know." I went to my jacuzzi 2 days ago, and I forgot to tell my family to change the chlorine, so I didn't even get to enjoy that.
Oh,
I did go out and buy all the stuff to take care of it today, and I ended up like a knucklehead. I went back to my desk where I could have just cleaned, treated the jacuzzi for 5-10 minutes. And I just now thought about it. I'm like, oh, there, I missed another day because I'd like it to, sit for a while. So, but
yes.
maybe I'll be doing one of our shows from the jacuzzi, or maybe more often now.
I think people like that. They especially like the skin tight shirt.
Yeah. Well, I could go without a shirt, but I don't know why.
I
I'm
will call
just
you Bruce
feeling
Poppy then, because he does that.
that's true. That's true.
He's the only guy I know that'll do a live stream without a shirt on. I'm like, really? He's unique.
That's
He's
funny.
very unique. Yeah. So first of all, we should say thank you for everyone for supporting us during the Unity tour and all the work that went into that, because that was an intense project, and on all levels. I mean, there were days I was getting up at 4 in the morning. I don't do that. I am not a morning person. I am very much an evening person. So it was a little challenging some days. There were a couple of live streams where I was muted. I didn't unmute myself because half asleep. That happened. I got a lot of buttons to push here. Oh boy, yeah. So, but it was fun, and glad we did it. And like Lewis said, we have plans for different kinds of events going forward. And Lewis, I'm dealing with the county here, trying to get power to where it needs to be, so we could set up the next studio. And the runaround has just been the red tape. The every time you think you got it, they give you another rule. They give you another thing. It's like we're just not getting anywhere. So yeah. So as soon as I can get that done, then we'll have a new space to do a different kind of event out here. We're looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
I know it's going to be exciting. So a lot of great stuff. I like to dig into. I just want to again touch base with how this SBG family is what I call it, and that doesn't remove Robert from it with Renegade Media, for because he's SBG also. He's part of the SBG family. So I am just I want not I won't say surprised, because I've kind of seen it in the past, but the way they've stepped up with this hurricane relief just is a whole nother level, a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Um, I can tell you. Let me just give you an idea, just based on and what has happened since we made the announcement about 2 weeks ago. We've we as many people know, we tore out 11 houses of all their drywall to do mold abatement.
Wow.
Right? That's a big deal. We've delivered several fully loaded trucks and U-Hauls filled with goods. And I'm talking a moving van. So we did two personally ourselves, stocked full, and then we had a bunch of stuff delivered to a place, and they did another moving van full. And then I'm trying to get the numbers, but it looks like there's another two or three that have been fulfilled because of a campaign where we're having them send things. I know we did one and a half. I purchased the stuff myself for one and a half of that. So it looks like there's already maybe eight, maybe even 10 full U-Haul vans filled that we've delivered just based on the responses and the donations that we have gotten
That's amazing.
for this.
Yeah.
It is absolutely incredible. We have boots on the ground. We had many people donate their time and find a way to get to places and help. Prayers are coming through like never imaginable before, which is incredible. And then, as many people know, if they've been paying attention over the last several days, we negotiated to get three cadaver dogs. Unfortunately, it's not fun, but we got three cadaver dogs that are heading to a certain area in North Carolina. And it looks like we're connecting right now with four firefighters that are going to connect with them. And a couple other groups are connect. So this is going to be a massive operation by the end of this week. It should be just an absolute massive operation. None of that would have happened without SBG stepping in and then the SBG family participating. And it just, a lot of people are just connecting me with people. I cannot believe how many people I talk to a day and how many text messages and so on and so forth. So guys, if you know somebody, if there's any way that you think has helped, and if I haven't got back to you yet, it's intentional. It just means I'm not at that part of the organizational process at this moment. I've definitely not forget you. It's like number 3 on my list. I'm still organizing maps, and this is a monumental task. So, but if you want to help, whether it's prayer, whether it's volunteering, whether it's financially, go to unitytour.us, and it'll give you detailed exactly what you can do and how you can do it. Now, this is a microcosm, Robert, of what Freedom and Action is going to be doing in the future. So it's going to be very easy for people to participate in anything, taking back your local governments, whatever it is, and it's all free. Everything we give is free, right? And so the people are giving back right now, and it's not going unnoticed, just so you know, inside the Patriot community.
Yeah, it was really when you made the announcement in Albany to change it, I was like immediately felt that is what's needed right now. That is more important than Unity Tour because you're actually bringing people together and you put the team together. And there's people were saying, well, why are you in Florida? Why weren't you in North Carolina? Well, they're different events, right? So you might look at the Florida event as well. That was recoverable. You could actually bring stuff in there and get help done. And the one in North Carolina, the infrastructure wasn't there. And without helicopters, without four-wheel drives, without, pack mules and stuff like that, very different environment there. So it's easier in some ways just to help in Florida. And those people were, you saw the houses, you had to tear out all the drywall. You had to, imagine your house, look at your house, look around your house, imagine tearing out all the drywall and removing all the furniture because everything is damaged. And knowing that if you don't get rid of it, it's going to mold within days, and some of that black mold is really toxic.
Quicker,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw in one house that we pulled out a whole bunch, and they had several units there. Me personally, black mustard color and a gray mold were already just inundated inside the drywall already.
Wow.
And imagine the water, if you're 5 feet tall, imagine it going up to your chin. That's how high the water was in these places. But Robert, you nailed it. And I want to get more specific on this. So folks, when we decided when we were at Albany that we were going to go, our first decision was to go to North Carolina. Right. And then making some phone calls, it became impossible.
Right.
Because this was so new. This was very new. This is very at the beginning. And then we had to go around North Carolina. And then so we decided to pick up Esther, the RV, which happened to be in Kentucky, which is about the route we would have had to take anyways. So we had to go around North Carolina. We decided, let's go to Tampa. At the time, there was one road going in, and there's virtually nothing we could do without the right equipment. So we made a conscious choice. It wasn't by happenstance to go down where we had our friends, Gina and Doug, that were already doing work. There was already organization down there, and we can get stuff done. We didn't want to be standing around. We wanted to make a difference. So we went to Tampa first. Now, as soon as we were finished at Tampa, as most people notice, I turned my efforts to North Carolina because now there was more of an infrastructure there and there were more people there, right? And then we started making a beautiful impact in North Carolina. So um, this was strategic, so people know, and I believe, and in fact, I know now we made the exact right decision, and it wasn't just by happenstance. If anybody knows us, we're very strategic in our thought process. So this was well thought out, and both we're doing as much as we possibly can in Florida and North Carolina, and it's never enough. You know what I mean? But if we can make one small dent, and y'all are part of it, you can say, you'd be proud to be part of the SBG family because we really stepped up.
And there wasn't information coming out of North Carolina at first. It took maybe 4 days before they started to get Elon Musk's satellite dishes up, the Starlink systems, that we weren't seeing any videos. And then all of a sudden, on that Friday, the videos were just pouring in, and there was no other conversation. North Carolina was the news that day, and that was the day we realized this is a heck of a lot worse than we thought because we weren't hearing anything. And I think it's the same thing if we're looking at Milton down in Florida. We haven't been seeing a whole lot, and over the past couple of days, more and more videos have been popping up, and you can see the areas that were really, really hit hard and damaged. It does take a few days. We have this idea that the internet is always there. Guys, if you knew how the internet was put together, I mean, it's duct tape and chicken wire. I mean, literally.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I've heard that.
It is so fragile. There are 13 points of failure worldwide that if any of these go down, you lose big chunks of the internet. It's crazy how poorly built it is. And then you think about your cell phone service. Oh, I have cell phone service. I have my cell phone. I'll be able to text until the power goes out. And then when 3 or 4 hours later, the batteries go dead on those things, and then you've got nothing. Not your phone. You can recharge your phone with a little solar panel. It's the cell towers. They require a lot of power. And they've got battery backup, but it only lasts for 4 hours because typically a power outage in any area is going to be an hour, 2 hours, that kind of thing. So that's all they've got. So after 4 hours, no more cell signal.
Right.
So, it's
amazing.
We have to be aware of the systems that we rely on really aren't that reliable.
Yeah, and and the mainstream media doesn't report on any of this.
No.
My wife was shocked that people in California knew nothing about North Carolina and the damage. They just didn't even know it existed. Yep. How sad is that?
Yep. Yeah, I don't understand. Was it intentional? Did Duke Energy really open the dam during the middle of the hurricane and made it 10 times worse? I mean, the river went up 30 feet higher than it normally goes. That is insane. That is apocalyptic. We've never seen anything like that. And you go, why couldn't the people just get on the roofs of their houses? They did. And then the houses were washed away and they drowned.
Your houses are 12 feet at the tip sometimes. So 30 feet's not going to do it.
No, not going to do it. And they weren't prepared for it because it never happened before. Yeah, they had the river going through there.
It should never happen either.
No, it shouldn't. So now, I hope they go after this power company that opened up that dam. Or maybe they were doing it because they feared the dam was going to break because there was so much water. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's that story there.
But we already know it's weather manipulation. So without the weather manipulation in the first place, this wouldn't be a conversation.
Right. Yeah, a hurricane doesn't travel 800 miles inland and still have that kind of force with it. Doesn't.
No.
They fall. And you saw, if you looked at Milton, the eye of the storm crumbled as soon as it hit land. Within 10 feet of the beach, the eye was already disassembled, already fell apart. That's the way it's supposed to go. The eye comes across a little bit, but that's it. But doesn't go.
But that was still a manipulated storm.
Yeah.
It was the start of it.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to, here's what I recommend. People go to AccuWeather.com and pull up Milton and look at the beginning of the storm, the track of the beginning of the storm. You've never seen anything like this. It goes up, down, circle, back, back, back. It's like it's fighting something, which I would think would be man-made manipulation, right? So I want you guys to think about this. What have you been hearing from the global cabal for the last 30 years? Man-made climate change.
Yep.
They let you think that has something to do with the temperatures. They have to, these are Satanists, so they have to tell on themselves. This is part of their karma contract. So they've been telling you, but the diversion is you think it's something else. What they've been telling you the whole time is we can manipulate the weather.
Yep.
And they do.
Yep.
And they're okay with their God because karmically they've already told you that they can do it.
Yep. Yeah, when we interviewed SG Anon during the Tampa event, he came on specifically to talk about weather manipulation, and he just nailed it. We were supposed to have him on for 15 minutes. He stayed almost a half hour with us. And if you haven't seen that, I posted on the Renegade Media channel. He also posted on his channel, had over 30,000 views already on that thing, because he went through it step by step, how it's manipulated, when the patents came out. He just delivered, over-delivered in that respect on that. So if you're wondering if it's true, can they manipulate the weather? Yep. He went back all the way to 1950s, even on that. And you could see they've been manipulating the weather for that long. That's the man-made climate change they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. They can man-made climate change it.
Yep.
they're just letting you think it's something different than it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not your carbon credits. That's not doing it. That's just a tax. It's not the CO2 in the air. Just ask any farmer how important CO2 is. They don't have enough in the greenhouses. They put machines in that generate the CO2.
That's
so
right.
The plants can flourish.
And when they say carbon reduction, another predictive programming moment is people are carbon, so they're telling you that they need carbon reduction.
Yeah.
Hello, they want to reduce the population, guys. They tell you everything. You just have to pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's double speak a lot of times, so people don't normally get it. But that's what we do. We try to break it down so people understand what in the heck's going on out there. Craziness. You know what we are seeing, Lewis? I'm going to play this video for you real